Hey everybody, so here we are, halfway through the current legislative session. How you guys holding up? I don't know about you guys, but it's a wild ride, isn't it? I think it always is. And today I'm going to talk about property taxes in this video. And what we don't need is more legislative band-aids. In Wyoming, we need real leadership. We need real solutions. Not just another rounds of, politicians really just passing the problem, right? Like a really bad game of hot potato, where we keep tossing the problem down the road. So let me be clear. I'm speaking for myself right now, but also hopefully for a lot of you. I really don't want a temporary tax break. What I want is a permanent solution, a real actual fix, true reform when it comes to property taxes. I think that's what we all want. My name is Joseph Kibler, right there, and I am running for governor in 2026 next year. So in this video, I'm going to actually explain why I would actually veto the current property tax break that they're giving us in favor of actual lasting reform. Not another excuse for government to stick its hands deeper in our pocket down the road. And so that is what my campaign is really going to be all about. So I think it's important that we talk about how did we get here? We the people have allowed government and legislation to get us to this place where government could walk onto my property and go, oh, look, you built a shed. That's going to increase the value of your property. We're going to tax you more. We have allowed this to happen, but we can take it back. I fully believe that. And that is what my campaign is going to be all about. So let's be honest, whether you lean on the right, conservative, left, liberal, you're somewhere down the middle, you're independent. I think there are some things that we can all agree about when it comes to property taxes, right? So property taxes, we know they're too high. They're out of control. Something needs to be done. I think we can all agree. Government spending, you guys, it's like a teenager with their parents' credit card, right? It's unchecked, it's reckless, and somehow it's always justified, right? Somehow there's always some reasoning behind it. And yes, we do. We need property taxes for essential services. I think we can all agree on that. But we need to be responsible about replacing the revenue to maintain the quality of life and services that we all enjoy in Wyoming while reducing property tax burden. So I think we can all agree on that. And the other thing I think we can all agree on is that reform comes up and politicians drag out educations and firefighters and roads, and in this argument appealing to our emotions all the time, right? And we love our teachers, we love our firefighters, but they act like there's nothing else that can be cut in government, right? So we're going to do this. You, the people, voted in the Freedom Caucus and voted in this legislature to cut your taxes in half on property. That's what you did. But then they pull teachers' education out, and that's the only thing that can be cut. When there are thousands of places that we can cut, we can look at line by line. You know what? We need to doge in Wyoming, right? That's what we need to do. We need to go line by line at the city, at the county level, at the state level, and go, oh, we don't need that sushi. Oh, we shouldn't be funding this with tax dollars. We could do that in Wyoming, and we should. But this is not about that, so I need to stay on target with property taxes. So before I get into this property tax thing and what I think we need to do with property taxes, I want to remind everybody, Wyoming is still on the bottom of the list when it comes to tax burden. And I think it's important that we remember that, because how low can you go before you really, these things do start to kind of crumble under our feet, right? We do need revenue. We do need essential services, stuff like that. So let's think about that. But we need to take control of it too. And I completely agree with that. So here's the problem with the current legislation. It's well-intentioned, right? Totally well-intentioned. I think it's what the people want in a sense. We need a break. We need a breather, right? But it doesn't fix the problem, you guys. It just kicks it down the road a couple of years, and then we'll see what happens. Like, that doesn't do it. It doesn't actually fix tax burden. It just shifts it around. It leaves the door open for new taxes and future manipulation of the system. It still keeps government spending unchecked, and we'll just be fighting this battle again next year. Now, granted, yes, they are looking to cut stuff. We get that. They're cutting at the state level. Counties and cities will have to cut if this goes through, which it probably will. But let's be honest, like, government is not in the business of solving problems. In fact, they're in the business of keeping it around so that there's job security, right, you guys? Like they're not in the business of coming up with final solutions. I don't know about you, but I'd like to fire some of these problems that we've had decade after decade, year after year. So what does real property tax reform look like? It's simple. I know, mind-blowing, right? Something simple from government, right? This is what I would run on. This is what I would want to see happen with property taxes and why I would veto the current bill. You scrap the current system completely. I've owned a business for 23 years. We realized we were going to be out of business last year if we didn't change the way we did things. And we threw out the book of business and we started over. We had to start over with our products and services. That's what we need to do with property taxes. We just need to scrap the current broken system. We've already legislated it to death, like we do almost everything. We legislate everything to death. And property taxes is based on what you paid for your home, period. If you bought your house 15 years ago for $100,000, guess what? You pay taxes on that. End of story. The only time it ever changes is in two scenarios. One, you refinance. So in other words, you have revalued your home and you have realized gain. So at that new revaluing is the taxes that you would pay. So let's say you had that $100,000 home and you refinance it to $250,000. Your tax is now based on that new valuation of your home. The only other time it changes is if you sell it. So let's say you sell that home you bought for $100,000 and you sell it for $500,000. I'll just say to me, that new person who has purchased that home now pays taxes based on, guess what? $500,000. So if you bought your home years ago, that's the privilege that you have and you pay those taxes. But if you buy a home yesterday for $1 million, you pay taxes on $1 million. I mean, let's face it. You can afford $1 million home. You can afford taxes on $1 million, right? And this way, taxes and revenue can balance out. There's something in between 6,000 and 8,000 properties and homes that switch hands every year in Wyoming. Those go in, they will pay the tax based on their new purchase. So if everything's $1 million right now, which it's all not, thankfully, they're, just outside of town here, there's a lot of great places for a lot less than that. You just pay taxes on what you bought your home for. It's that simple. It's flat. It's fair. And you don't have to worry about it beyond that. And think about that. How much legislation do we need for that tax rule right there? You buy a house, you pay taxes on what you purchased it for. End of legislation for a residential property tax, right? And you do something similar with commercial as well. It's fair. It protects seniors, hardworking families. These folks that bought their house 25 years ago, they should be paying taxes based on what they bought it for 25 years ago, unless they've refinanced, stuff like that, of course. But I go a step further. There's no reason why you could not keep some of those very basic exemptions, right? For those who are, are considered poorer, right? For those senior folks on fixed income, there's no reason why you couldn't do this. You pay taxes based on what you bought your house for. And then maybe you have a couple, 2 or 3 very basic exemptions that help them, that are 50% or whatever the percentage is. That says, hey, you know what? If your income is at this level, we're going to help you out, as not just as the state of Wyoming, but as the people of Wyoming. We've decided we're going to help you out. Your income is this low and you've got 3 kids. We're going to have an exemption for you, something to help you out. We're not going to exempt you completely from taxes, but we're going to help you out. So this takes care of everybody. It's predictable too. Guess what? We don't have to deal with this emotional surprise of diff changes in property taxes every year. Now, what's it going to be this year? What's it going to be next year? What's it going to be in 10 years? So it's predictable and it's sustainable. Because why is it sustainable? Because the revenue continues to grow over time as houses and property change hands, right? And so there's that opportunity for revenue to continue to at least take a stride. The last part of this is this. Also, guess what? Government knows what it has in its budget from property taxes. So whether you're city, state, county, whatever, and obviously property taxes, over 70% go to education and local services, right? Most of it all goes to local services. They'll know what they have to work with because it's common sense tax reform. And there's no more guessing. There's no more, constantly pulling on our heartstrings when it comes to property taxes. So this is why I would veto the current bill, and this is the reform I would go after. We need taxes and revenue to have services. I think we all know that, but there's a different way to do it that makes total sense. And what we're doing right now doesn't make sense. I know it's well-intentioned, but it doesn't make sense for the future or for anything really. So what Wyoming deserves is a leadership that's going to prioritize faith, family, future, and freedom. Those are the 4 foundations of my platform. So let's just stop playing these games and actually fix it once and for all. So hey, if you like this message, you like what I put forth, I need your help. Feel free to share this video with your friends, family, at least follow me on Facebook. This year, it's all about me getting to know you guys and for me to build an audience, right? For me to build support. So if you like this message and you think that there's a different way to do this that will just kind of put this to rest, then let's connect. I'd love to hear from you. This is Joseph Kibler. Again, I'm running for governor in 26. Thank you so much for watching.